campiness. Well, all South Indian films are pretty much known throughout the world for their campiness.
हारमोनियम खाते थे अबे साले तब
Have you guys seen the greatest film ever created by S. Shankar, who is also the greatest fucking director ever? It's called Aparichit. And it's the best movie ever. And I'm going to break it down why it's so good. So the first thing is the campiness. Well, all South Indian films are pretty much known throughout the world for their campiness and
हारमोनियम खाते थे अबे साले तब
goofiness and like this overblown action. But this movie does it well, and this is because it doesn't take itself too seriously, especially when it's doing the actions. And it does take itself seriously and kind of grounds the action when stuff gets serious. So, for example, when Ambi gets beat up in the film, this stuff is very realistic when he's getting beaten up. But when he starts fighting, stuff is way more funny and way more goofy and out there because he's this action hero now. I think they could have toned it down a little bit, but it's really fucking good still. Secondary is the imagery. Imagery is so good. Like the first kill that Ambi does is when he's killing this man who doesn't help a old dying man on the street. So he basically runs him over with a bunch of bulls in a dark cave. The movie is inspired by Garud Puran, and this killers or the main, you know what happens, but the main killers, like methods of killing, is inspired by Garud Puran, right? So it is one of the methods of killing people, and the imagery of that shot and that scene is so beautiful. I think they could have taken a longer shot because it really looked fucking delicious, dude. Secondly is the emotions, man. The movie is emotional. The movie is really emotional, especially when, spoiler alert, Ambi's sister dies because there's a loose electrical wire puddle in the ground of water that just happens in India everywhere all the time, and there's this loose high voltage wire in it which is active. It falls into that puddle when coming home from school, and it was a fancy dress competition or something like that. It's so fucking sad, and dude, fuck me, man, it's really sad and it's really moving. Kind of puts things into perspective what India is like as a country and how we have failed to do these things, which is, the point of the whole movie. The point of the movie isn't the crazy action. This is the point of the movie, and it really is like very well communicated through the film. At least I think that. And another part of the movie which is pretty focused on is how Ambi is a lonely, kind of pathetic guy who only follows rule. He's this pencil neck nerd, and even that you can feel kind of sorry for him at places, but he's really pathetic. Like, I don't feel sorry for him because he's kind of creepy also. And the other character that he plays, Remo, it does some creepy shit that I don't like. Like, it's funny, but they could have leaned into the goofiness without making it so creepy, because he does do some creepy things here and there. And the third is the message. Well, the movie has a message, dude. And the Aparichit literally shouts at you to breaking the fourth wall through the camera, looking at you and just saying, what's the message of the film? The message of the film is just that passing responsibility and all that shit. Like, we will have to stop doing that. But do I really agree with it? No, I don't. Because, like, sure, can a man who, or you and I, can do better? We can. I'm not saying we cannot. But that is not what the movie is saying. The movie is literally focusing on how every single person who is lazy or waste their time, quote unquote, is a piece of shit. Even though it's not, like, dude, it's not a normal human's fault and an everyday citizen's fault that the roads are bad. Politicians did that. Like, this greed for capitalism and money and profits, that did that. Poor management, corruption, those are the real issues that can improve the country overall. Do you think Japan is so great because, like, he gives a now this is such a meme to me, at least, but he gives an example of Japan. Well, Japan is not that great because every single human being in Japan is the most disciplined person ever. It's because the country is, first of all, really small, has a very high GDP, and also because the government is not corrupt. It's not fucking corrupt as fuck. So they kind of do shit nice there. Yeah, the public transport is maintained. All of those things are maintained. But also the population is lower. Like, there are things that the movie can focus on. But I get it, it's not supposed to be that nuanced. And in a 2 or 3 hour film, this is a 2-hour film, by the way, you cannot really fit every little detail into it. I'm not saying the message is very bad, but it can be a little harmful. And they could have made a more nuanced take on this. And I think that people can do it even now. Like, why is this movie not getting some kind of a reimagination? I'm not saying that remake it, but people should be making movies like this, because most movies this year or in the last few years from all industries in India have been kind of shit, man. Like S.S. Rajamouli is the only one who's kind of carrying this mantle from Shankar and making movies with a message. Even though Bahubali is kind of goofy, but it still has a message and still has some heart to it. RRR clearly has a message, and this bullshit that has this bullshit like KGF and all these era movies, Prabhas's films, they're just bullshit, man. They have nothing to say. But that's what's working right now, I guess. But Aparichit is great. Watch it.